freezing out here at the moment. So I test bikes for a living. I've been testing road and mountain bikes for nearly 10 years now, and I'm always riding different bikes. One question I get from my local riding mates, when I go to the club in particular, is do I actually own my own bike? Because I'm always riding different test bikes, of course. Well, the answer to that question is yes, I do own my own road bikes. I've got a couple actually, but I thought I'd show you just one of them and run you through why I've got this bike in my collection and why I still have it, and let me go get out of the garage and show you. So here's my own bike. This is my own personal Cannondale SuperSix Evo. So Cannondale launched this bike in 2011, I think, when the SuperSix went Evo, and I test rode the bike and was so impressed with it I had to have one. I think this is a 2011, possibly a 2012 model. It's certainly the original paint job, the white and black paint job with the overuse of the Cannondale word across the frame. But the reason I still ride this bike, and I've ridden loads of miles on this, thousands of miles according to my Strava, and I still have it in my fleet as a regular test bike, is because it just still rides really nicely. Everything I was impressed with the bike when I first tested it, that kind of balance of stiffness, of weight and handling, still rings true today, and it's still a really good riding bike. So Cannondale have launched 2 updates to the Evo since I've had this bike, and I've tested both of those bikes and they are really impressive, and they definitely bring more performance to the bike, more comfort as well, but the difference is marginal. And when I get back on this bike, I'm still really impressed with it. Yes, it's not quite in the same league as those newer models, but it's splitting hairs really, and I'm still happy riding this bike. I've also had this bike for such a long time because it's been a test bed for testing different products. So I've swapped bits on it, different group sets and different wheels, and because I know the frame and the fork so well in terms of how it handles, I know when I change a component, I can really kind of spot the difference that component is making to the performance of the bike. At the moment, I've got latest SRAM Red 11-speed on it with the new SRM Origin power meter that I'm currently testing. The wheels at the moment are the Fulcrum Racing Zero carbon clincher wheels. I really like these wheels, good braking performance in the dry, pretty good in the wet, and I'm using these Michelin Power Competition tyres in a 25mm width. Really like the Michelin tyres. I've always liked the Michelin tyres since the Pro 2 way back in the day, and Pro 3, Pro 4, and these latest ones offer everything you want in a tyre really. Supple, grippy, punch resistant, pretty lightweight as well. If I was going to make a change on the wheel and tyre front, I'd probably go tubeless. I'm a real fan of tubeless, but these rims that I've been testing aren't tubeless compatible, so I've had to put in tubeless stuff, but that's the only thing I'll probably change. But apart from that, I'm happy with it. Let me just run you through some more of the details on the bike, and I'll start with the saddle. So this is the Bontrager Serrano RL saddle. I've not actually changed this saddle in a long time. It's such a nice, comfortable shape that I've stuck with it, and it's starting to kind of show a bit of distress around the front, but it's wearing pretty well. It's got that kind of scooped, wide shape, a bit like a Pro Logo scratch that I really like, and just been a good, reliable saddle, so I've not changed that. I haven't also changed the 3T seat post in a while because it just works really, just fit and forget. And up front, I've got an FSA K-Force light stem and handlebar, both carbon fibre. Nice and lightweight. I like the shape of the drops. It's got this sort of compact drop shape that I like, and quite short reach, so you can get in the drops quite comfortably. Using a barfly mount for my Garmin there at the front, and obviously have the stem slammed because it's a race bike. So yeah, slammed is the way to go. I've actually just fitted some new bar tape. This is a fabric buffalo bar tape, so real leather. Bit of a pain to fit, if I'm honest. It took me quite a few goes to get the wrap around the hoods just right, but quite happy with it. It's not as grippy as I like. I prefer a bit of a grippier bar tape in the summer, but at the winter time I'm using gloves, so it's not a problem, and it definitely gives a kind of nice appearance to the bike. It should be quite hard wearing as well, and they come with these neat little bar plugs that bolt into place so they won't fall out. So other bits and bobs, I've got these old Comtat bottle cages. So when I first built this bike up, I got an email from the guys at Comtat in London saying, do you want some bottle cages to match your new bike? And I said yes, and they set them in, and I've had them on here for years. You can see how worn they are inside there, so I've not changed those. I've got a mini pump fitted to the down tube bottle cage. That's just because it's easier than having it in a jersey pocket, and it's always there, and I just prefer it for winter riding really. I'll take it off for summer when I'm racing and stuff, but for the winter I have it there. And my pedals of choice are the Speedplay Pave pedals. So I really like Speedplay because of the extra floats you get compared to a Shimano or Look style pedal system. Just really easy to set up as well, and I like the look of these Pave pedals. Bit of extra mud clearance when you're riding in gritty conditions and getting off the bike and stuff, so I like those, and they look pretty cool as well. You get loads of comments on those, so those are yeah, a good set of pedals. Yeah, so that's a quick overview of my very own personal Cannondale SuperSix Evo. I've been riding this for a good few years now, and I still love it. An absolutely phenomenal bike, really good performance. Doesn't get as much use as it used to. I don't do as much racing as I used to, and a lot of the bikes I'm testing now come with disc brakes, so I don't get as much time on this bike as I would like, but I still ride it on a regular basis just to remind myself how good it is really, and it's such a nice ride. I'm so familiar with how it rides that I just get on it and feel comfortable, and that's the main reason for having my own bike. Even though I'm always testing different bikes, it's nice to have my own bike that's set up just the way I like it, and I get on it and it just fits right and it feels really good and I know how it rides and just get on. And when I want to go for a ride and not test bikes, this is often the bike I go for. And even though it's a bit dated now and Cannondale has launched 2 new versions of Evo since the bike came out, it's still a really good looking bike. It's still a really good riding bike. It's not the most modern looking frame, but I like that about it. I like the horizontal top tube, I like the simple round tubes, I like that sort of traditional look of it, but it's still a lightweight, it's still a very stiff bike. And I tested a lot of newer bikes since, and yes, they are better in terms of performance and speed and aero and weight and stiffness and so on, but this bike isn't that far behind. Cannondale did such a good job with the Evo, with the first generation Evo, that it's still a cracking bike to ride, and that's why I kept it in my collection. I've been tempted to replace it a few times, but I just keep coming back to it, and it's such a classic ride. It's like an old 911 really, just rides really nicely, and that's what I want from the bike, and that's why I've kept it, and that's why one of my favourite bikes. So if you like that, stay tuned, because I'm going to show you one of my other personal road bikes in my future video. So if you don't want to miss that, hit that subscribe button, and as ever, thanks for watching. I've been David, and I'll see you again next time.